If you're going to conquer the game of trading, there's one specific price phase that you need to know all about and thoroughly understand. This is level 2, understanding of the master pattern, contraction, the beginning of everything. So what makes a contraction point important? Well, remember the contraction point is the first of the 3 market phases. We have contraction, then we go into expansion. That's when we leave the contraction point. And then we go into the trend phase, which is really the phase that we're all after because that's where the profit's made. But in order to predict the trend phase, which is what we're all after, we have to have a really deep understanding of the contraction phase leading into the expansion. There's a lot of manipulation that happens right in that specific area. And if you don't understand that manipulation, chances are you're going to lose money. So that's really what we're going to talk about in this lesson. So what is contraction? Well, we define contraction as fair market value or a balance in supply and demand. Now, why do we say that? Well, the very nature of the price action as it's becoming contracted tells us that selling volume and buying volume have become relatively balanced. So when we talk about balance in the market, what that would imply is that all information that's available to digest for traders, meaning price patterns, fundamental news, everything at that moment, they have all come to a balance in agreement. Now, you would think that's the way it is, but in fact, there is another piece at play here because the contraction is assembled under the market maker's direction. Why? Because the market makers control supply. So even if there is a difference in the opinion between buyers and sellers of, let's say, retail traders or your normal regular trader trading his own account, the market makers can mask that information and artificially hold the market in a sideways pattern. This allows the market makers to create a situation where it becomes very easy to manipulate the market and accumulate supply at amazing prices in order to build their portfolio for their proprietary trading activity outside of their normal market making buyer and seller matching business. So let me explain that a little further. So in order to understand this on a deeper level, we need to talk about the market maker's portfolio. So the market makers are always willing to take all trades, even if they can't find another willing buyer or seller to match a transaction request. So what does this mean? Well, the function of the market maker is to make sure there's always liquidity there. If someone wants to buy, it goes to the market maker, they match them. Now, the market maker will either match them with another seller, or if there is no other seller, the market maker becomes a seller, and they'll take the other side of that position. Now, because of the nature of the market maker's business and the fact that they are willing to take any and all trades in-house, whether they can find a buyer or seller to match you with or not, either way, they're taking that trade. When they take a trade in-house, it's going into one of 2 portfolios. We have the positive selection portfolio. This is positions that the market maker wants to have because they are predicting that price will continue to move in that direction. And then they have a negative selection portfolio. These are positions that they do not want. So an example of positions that the market maker may want are if, let's say that we're in a very strong uptrend and retail traders continue to short against the trend, which happens quite often if you watch retail sentiment. So as those traders are trying to go short against that heavy, steaming upward trend, the market makers are just taking those in-house, saying thank you very much, because they know that prices are going to continue to go up. That would go right into their positive selection portfolio. Now, the opposite of that is if the market makers know that some sort of news or something's coming out that's going to make the market break out to the long side. And a lot of retail traders have been buying in preparation for that news release. And you know what? They're right. But what happens? If all those retail traders are wanting to buy, then it's causing the market maker to get net short because there's not enough people to match up. So what do? They drive the market short at the news release, dump all those negative positions that they don't want to have, reverse them for the ones they do want to have, and then the market breaks out in the expected direction, but only after the market maker has dumped its negative portfolio. So the market makers can and will manipulate supply in order to organize their portfolio in a way that provides them with the most profit. They are a business. They are here to provide a service. They do help us. They are a necessary evil, but they are a business and they are profit driven. And if they can use their tools and their resources to create an advantage, they will. You better believe it. So anytime too many traders are positioned the same as the market maker, meaning they are expecting the market fundamentally to go to the same direction that the market expects, then the market maker becomes pressured to manipulate things back into their favor. That's the way the world goes round, and that's what you need to be aware of so that you can trade in and around those tactics without getting destroyed yourself. So here's what you need to understand about every contraction period in the market. You need to remember that the market makers control the gates of supply first and foremost. This means that a contraction is part the normal balance in supply and demand, but likely also artificial manipulation. And this goes from the contraction into the expansion. They're kind of one and the same in their function. But it all starts from that contraction period. So let's look at the contraction phase from two different perspectives. Number one is going to be the non-manipulated supply perspective, and number two is going to be the manipulated supply perspective. Let's go deep. Non-manipulated supply. So in this illustration, we could see from the contraction period that the market runs straight out, goes straight up. So let's talk about that. So in this situation, the market makers are holding buy inventory. Traders are already mostly net short. Okay, so what kind of situation does that create? Well, for the market makers, there's no need to manipulate the market because retail is already positioned opposite of the market maker. If the market maker inside their positive selection portfolio is already holding a lot of buy inventory, just let the market run. And how's it going to run? It's because traders' stop losses, because remember, they're positioned short, traders' stop losses will continue to drive the market higher on the breakout. It just needs to push it a little over the edge, and there it goes. And the market makers are already holding the positions that they want, right? In this situation, there's no need to manipulate supply because everyone's positioned according to the market maker's favor. Manipulated supply. So we could see that this example ended up going a little bit differently. So in this situation, the market makers are still holding buy inventory. They're still net long, and they still believe, the market makers, in fact, they know that the market will eventually continue to higher prices. Fundamentals haven't changed. The problem, though, is that too many traders that aren't the market maker are starting to go long. This is bad for the market maker. So what happens? The market maker determines the need to drive the market short to dump their negative selection portfolio. If too many traders are buying, that means that the market maker is starting to get net short. That's a problem if the market maker knows the market's going higher. They're going to lose tons of money if they don't do something about that. So what do? They drive the market short. They pick up those stop loss orders from all the traders that are net long. They push them to that pain threshold price. And what does that do? It allows the market maker to dump their negative selection portfolio, and it can also drag traders into starting to sell the market, which is also good because that creates more buying opportunity for the market maker, allows them to increase their positive selection portfolio even more, and then they cut supply, and there it goes into the predicted direction, but only after things have been manipulated to rebalance the market maker's portfolios in their favor to make sure that they're not losing money first and foremost, but make sure that they're set up to profit. So here comes another one of our ATS signature world famous chart examples. So in this one, I'm going to show you on the chart the different contraction points and then the activity that happens right after that that shows us whether the supply was manipulated or not. So right here on the first one, you can see we have the contraction, and then the activity that happens right after that contraction. What does it look like? Well, it comes out of the bottom of that box and then whips back up to the top. That's that rebalancing that happens. That's the manipulation part, the manipulation of supply. And then it heads back down in what we can clearly see is an overall downtrend. So our directional bias in this situation would likely already be short. So we go to the next one. Let's see the difference. In this one, we have the contraction period, but then what happens after? It breaks straight into trend. So we go into contraction. The expansion happens the moment we leave the box, but it's not a manipulated expansion. There's no need. Why? because the traders are already net long on that box. They probably think there's a double bottom forming. If you look a little to the left of that, they're already net long, and that makes it easy for the market maker, because that means the market maker is net short. That means they're not going to lose money. And then all they got to do is push the market, cut supply a little bit. It hits those trader stop losses and the market breaks out very easily. Okay, let's go to the next one. In this situation, now all the traders are net short. They're like, okay, it's really going south this time. I don't want to miss out. Same thing. Market goes into contraction. No need to manipulate because the market just needs to break out. The market makers know that they can drive it up. Probably to collect stop losses above those last two boxes or in that area. And since the traders are net short, all they got to do is pop it out of that contraction a little bit, hit their stop losses, and it just takes off. Now the next one, there is a need for a little bit of manipulation. See the difference? It comes out of the box, trades up above the box a little bit, and then goes back down in the predicted direction. Now this next one has a lot of manipulation. You can see that the box forms, contraction, we whip out, we whip below, we whip back up, and then it heads off. So there could be several expansion legs that the market maker utilizes to balance their portfolio. They will do whatever it takes, whatever is necessary to make sure the odds are in their favor and that they are positioned to not lose money. So when it comes to manipulation, what's important to remember is what was left behind. When we have a contraction zone, remember, it's that fair market value that's established there. But when we break out, whether it be long or short, in this case it's long, we have buying beliefs that are becoming strengthened as price moves up. Now, if there is a need for manipulation, for a rebalancing of the market makers' positive and negative selection portfolios, then remember that there is a pain threshold associated with the center line of that contraction. That's what we'll call our expansion lines on our software, or we'll call them value, right? There are stop loss orders right under that pain threshold. That stack of stop orders that's left behind equals extremely predictable liquidity for the market maker to efficiently and effectively rebalance their portfolio. So now, knowing what I just taught you, looking at this chart, can you see where the market makers are rebalancing their portfolio? We have a 30-minute chart here, and we have our daily chart over here. We could see that the daily chart is in a clear downtrend. So that means that when we approach this market, we're already going to have a directional bias or an expectation that all contractions and expansions are going to eventually play out to the downside. So we're going to approach it that way. We're looking for rebalancing activity in the form of manipulation to use as our entry points, because those are the best opportunities. That's exactly the point where the market maker is rebalancing. That's where we want to get in, right? We want to trade in line with them. So in this situation, I can clearly see that in that contraction, the market makers already were having an issue with too many traders that weren't them trying to short the market. And the market makers knew the market had pressure to go further down. So what do they have to do? In order to not lose money, in order to not be net long as the market gets driven down, they have to go through their manipulation and rebalancing process. They break the market out long, they try to drive it short, but they're still having a problem. They take it back long again, try to drive it short, but they're still having a problem. Ultimately, it takes this big manipulative candle to not only dump the traders that were net short. This is taking out their stop losses. But guess what? There's a lot of traders that now think this is the reversal. They're now jumping in, buying this candle. And what is that doing for the market maker? They're dumping that negative selection portfolio, all those bad positions that they don't want to have. They're getting rid of those. And all those new traders that are rushing in long, thinking this is a reversal, they're taking the other sides of those. So they're dumping their negative selection portfolio and they're filling their positive selection portfolio with great proprietary trading positions to then distribute into this falling market, which they had already factored in. They already knew it was going to happen. They just needed to make sure that they were positioned correctly for it. Their strategy is your strategy. Understand the market phases, understand what part of that phase you're in, and you get positioned the same as a market maker to make sure you're on the right side. So what's the takeaway from this lesson? Contraction is the beginning of the market maker's business cycle. Market makers can end up with positions that they do not want due to the nature of their trade matching business. In order to not lose money on those positions, they must rebalance their portfolio through manipulation of supply. It's a necessity. They have to do it, otherwise they lose money. By understanding their business and the tactics they need to employ in order to not lose money and also to make money, if you understand those, you will be better equipped as a trader to determine where price is likely to go while avoiding their traps.